Presumably you can walk these well-worn paths and get the feeling of being in a forest. Some of the trees are protected against some kind of beast. It's interesting that the trees that have this very solid protection all are labeled, and the protection is very substantial. These may be revered or highly respected trees. This looks like it might be such a tree. Some very pretty flowers that seem to be a parasitic vine growing on this tree. So the building I'm about to enter now is built in the 9th year of the Emperor Beijing's reign in Ming Dynasty, 1530. The Imperial Earth God Worship House is one of the main buildings in Tai'an Park. Notice these slightly convex center stones, just like you see at the Forbidden City, going up to this altarway. This area, I think, represents this whole complex. You'll notice a square. Square represents earth. This being a representation, I believe, of a moat. It's interesting to wonder whether it had any use other than simply as a large space. And these gates are a very common architectural feature wherever anyone wanted to show respect for something. And of course, is an entry from one area into another, which is what we're doing now. And here, still another area of the same nature. In its time, it would have been extremely well maintained, no grass, I'm sure. As I pan around, these vessels, I'm not sure what they are. They may be that Li Jian, which was a grain measuring device or standard, but I don't know. Now there was a triple gate, but notice that the center one is the largest. That's where the important personage would have come through and walked on those convex stones. Here's a close look at what may be the altar, and there are some incense sticks that have been placed there by others. An interesting bulbous design. Those handles are, in my mind, starting to become somewhat classic or iconic for some ceramics. Now notice that this platform I'm on is also surrounded by a real moat, and a moat that I don't know if it was designed as a place for the runoff of the other area to be, but there's what could be a gargoyle, if I were a gargoyle funnel, if you will. And these stone devices here may have been for similar offerings. This may have been filled with sand, and you could put in incense sticks there. So this is that larger edifice, whatever its purpose was. And here, not to be irreverent, but probably was some kind of a barbecue, or sacrificial barbecue, for lack of a better term. And you can see that this is still used for some kind of reverence paying. These have somewhat the allusion to those bird devices we saw in the Forbidden City. Of course, their function was to ensure guard against fire. And panning across here, you may notice what I think I sense is a subtle convexity of the large area in front of us, causing water to drain left and right. And you'll notice at the base a couple of drainage holes. Maybe all of this dumped into that literal moat around the elevated area that had water in it. Okay, this gives us a little hint. What we're looking at here are stands that have been provided so people could stand up and put something inside these bowls. And these smaller but very substantial brass welded paneled bowls to keep water in for fire prevention. Just a slow pan across the front of the building. Notice that there are 7 of these, almost like the Buddhism of Thailand, except in Thailand they have an extra one for Tuesday, I think it is, for some reason. So these are the same as those boxes we saw out on the temple earlier, on the temple platform. Here, maybe these kind of wooden devices were installed in those square holes, and then people are leaving donations here, which are a form of reverence, a tithing, if you will. This looks like a close-up of that roof detail. And some more elements of the roof. Here, a close-up display of the detail we see on the Forbidden City and elsewhere. though this one's kind of unique. These ceremonial gongs rather than bells are interesting, with the white geese. I've not seen gongs like that. I wonder what kind of sound they make. And there beyond, the analog to the rack over there that has the bells on it. Here, just similar shaped gongs. And here a chair for carrying important personages. How many sweaty salts were driven into that wood? May be able to look at a bit of the carved detail. It looks like a dragon, maybe two dragons, one on the other side.